and welcome to our monthly report from Strasbourg. Parliament's plenary session was dominated by the EU budget and a report from the Special Committee on the Economic Crisis, as well as the adoption of a directive fighting against late payments in business transactions. Parliament's Conference of Presidents of Political Groups also decided to award the prestigious Sakharov Prize to imprisoned Cuban dissident Guillermo Farinas, proposed by the EPP Group. MEPs have adopted the 2011 EU budget and already started the debate on its future reshaping, based on proposals from the European Commission. Yanis Sografos reports.
The 2011 budget was adopted by the European Parliament without any substantial increase, as all member states are in dire financial straits. So says the chairman of the Budget Committee and member of the EPP Group, Alain Lamassoure. Sidonia Jedrzejewska, also from the EPP, was Parliament's rapporteur. As she has explained on our program, her priorities were framed in a triangle of youth, mobility and education. The House did support these priorities. However, MEPs also listened to Budget Commissioner Janusz Lewandowski's presentation of the Commission proposal for the shape of the EU budget after 2012. According to the Lisbon Treaty, it is the turn of the European Council to adopt the budget after having negotiated with Parliament. And there were some interesting ideas, said Reimer Böge, EPP Group member and Parliament's permanent rapporteur on financial perspectives.
I would say the glass is half full or half empty. Of course, when we agreed on certain declarations, including the review in 2006, we expected more review and revision elements for the existing financial perspective until 2013, especially based on the Lisbon-related issues where we need also certain finances. So this is not included in this paper. This I regret very much, and we will fight for review and revision within the next annual budgets. But for the next financial perspective, this paper gives a lot of interesting ideas, good analysis.
He went further by defining the priorities that the new EU budget should embrace, taking into account the provisions of the Lisbon Treaty.
As far as own resources is concerned, it's very clear that we have to talk about a new structure of own resources, because the treaty is requiring that Europe finances its budget from own resources and not from contributions from member states.
We need more Europe. This was the message from MEPs as they debated proposals in a mid-term report from Parliament's Committee on the Financial, Economic and Social Crisis. Gunnar Larsson followed the discussions.
Even though most of Europe is returning to growth, the effects of the crisis are still felt. Unemployment remains high and countries are struggling to cope with deficits and debt burdens. Ahead of next week's European Summit and November's G20 Summit in Seoul, EPP Group Chairman Joseph Daul called for reforms.
For the European Union, these reforms consist of putting our public finances, national as much as community, back in order and in defending our currency, the euro, by consolidating it internally and defending its value in relation to the other major global currencies.
Measures proposed by the Special Committee are the result of intense negotiations to find broad support in Parliament. Finnish MEP Sirpa Pietikäinen has been successful in underlining EPP Group priorities such as a strengthened Stability and Growth Pact, fiscal consolidation, continued structural reforms and debt reduction. EPP TV met with Pietikäinen following the plenary debate.
I would say that the EPP did very good homework. We had very good thematic papers, plus then we emphasized the single market, we emphasized the role of small and medium-sized enterprises, and we emphasized more two issues, and that is both the stability on and accountability of public finances. We can't go on overdebting ourselves and eating the prerequisites for the growth, plus then the measures to be taken to ensure the growth in the future.
There's a silent killer of small and medium-sized business across Europe. Late payments, sometimes 3 months or more. The EPP Group has mobilised to fight that killer with a crackdown on deadbeat creditors. Chris Birds has more.
The EPP Group joined in updating a decade-old EU directive that aimed to speed payments, but only from public entities. The problem is much wider. One global study indicates late business-to-business, or B2B payments, are seriously impacting about half the companies surveyed. German researchers blame late payments on thousands of bankruptcies among small and medium-sized firms.
There is a figure from the Commission that 80 billions of euros are at the moment delayed for businesses that are waiting seriously for that money.
The EPP Group says the European Commission's originally proposed revision, setting a 60-day deadline for only public firms, was not enough. Instead, the EPP Group, the largest political force in Parliament, backs a tougher crackdown, cut the normal payment time to a month, include B2B transactions, and toughen the penalties. Any extensions must be agreed between debtor and creditor. Małgorzata Handzlik is the EPP Group's shadow rapporteur for the legislation.
It's compromise. Yes, but I am very satisfied because, in my opinion, this compromise is very good and, in my opinion, helping the SMEs.
And that help includes a legal watchdog.
The European Commission can start a legal action, and that's very helpful. So member states are forced to do what they have promised now.
Reaction from the business community, the European Builders Confederation calls the legislation a major success for SMEs. But the builders also want member states to carry out these measures as soon as possible. That sounds quicker than the legislation's mandated 2-year deadline. But then this is a compromise.
Using the only weapon left to him, Guillermo Farinas used his body to fight for change in Cuba. He starved himself for 135 days in what was his 23rd hunger strike in protest at the Castro regime. We spoke to the EPP Group's coordinator in the Foreign Affairs Committee, José Ignacio Salafranca, about the decision to award the prize to the candidate he proposed.
I think it's really very difficult to find a person who represents better the spirit of Sakharov Prize, because he has been a fighter in favor of freedom and dignity in Cuba, and I think it has been a great candidate.
That's all for this session, but we'll be back in November. To keep up to date in the meantime, visit our website, eppgroup.eu. Thanks for watching.